Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Football Yannick, hanging out in my living room. Isn't this nice? The new camera's wicked, man, and I'm really buzzing on it, actually. Hopefully the microphone's working. Yeah, it's offering me Yannick in the wild. I can talk football out rambling, just be out of the office as well, you know? Different opportunities. I'm trying not to look down in the camera and look into the lens so I can look into your soul and connect with you. Welcome back. I want to talk about Man City, this story regarding Cinho, how he could be sold to Tottenham, which actually is pretty mental, and I'm seeing a lot of Man City fans rather upset about it, so I'm going to get into that today and speak about it, because they had some other weird stories, man. Do you remember just recently Nico Gonzalez? They were considering selling him just 6 months after buying him, forking out loads of money on these players, and part of Guardiola's rebuild. Then immediately considering selling them. Like, who's next? A Kuzanov or someone like that? And we'll speak about it a bit. By the way, welcome back to Football Yannick. There is daily uploads here on the channel. And if you like it, let me know. Why not like and subscribe? I am very much on the road to 20,000 subscribers, which I am determined to achieve before the end of the summer. And I think we can do it. It's like it's over 19.3 thousand, so it's like 600 and something. And I'm chipping away with subs, a few more people jumping on every video, so I appreciate that. Join in on the journey together. You and me, friends. Alright, so look, let's talk about this then. It did seem weird. Look, they did keep Nico Gonzalez in the end, but that story did come out. Like, they were considering selling him. And to be honest, maybe the only reason why that story went away is because, again, Rodri is injured. He's Pep Guardiola said he's got a serious injury, or he's not going to be fully fit till after the first international break, which sounds pretty radical, but actually the international break comes around way too quickly. I think you get 3 Premier League games before it's there, which every year catches me out, man. So yeah, maybe the fact how Rodri isn't available is why they are not selling Nico Gonzalez. I know they've got Reinders in midfield now. But I get it, man. I get why the City fans are annoyed, because Man City were good at everything, and that kind of included transfers. Do you know what I mean? When they first got Erling Haaland in, you had Guardiola, we cannot replace him, Aguero crying on the pitch, and then he just absolutely takes the piss by bringing in this like super machine. Obviously, the debate's still there on whether, the greatest iteration and version of Man City. I know they won the treble with Haaland, but does his football, his vision of football, is it really best when you funnel all your goals for Erling Haaland? I'm not so sure. I'm just going to sip my coffee. That's the only thing here, because I'm going to upload these photos. I'm going to videos. I'm going to raw dog them and not edit them. Unless, I don't know, I crap myself randomly in a video, then I'll probably cut that out. But I'll put the work in and cut that out. But yeah, you'll see things like me drinking coffee. But that's fine, it's more of a relaxed format. Yeah, so look, I'm not going to get into the discussion of which version of Man City is better, with or without Erling Haaland, the false nine, the Raheem Sterling in the middle for cutbacks back in the day. But the truth is, they were good at everything for a long time. The football, the transfers, and really, they're looking at maybe James McAtee might go out. Obviously, a huge blunder. And look, I'm a Chelsea fan. I've massively benefited from Cole Palmer coming to Chelsea. But there is an argument that maybe he doesn't become that player if he doesn't come to Chelsea. There is always that argument. Do you know what I mean? I always say, I don't think Mohamed Salah becomes as good as he is unless he left Chelsea. I do actually think De Bruyne was good enough to stay. He was just behind Hazard and Mata and Oscar and all these kind of stuff. Even though he could have played with them. Certainly Hazard, as he'd shown for Belgium. Anyway, the one that got away. Man City fans won't be happy about that. I mean, if they're England fans, they're probably happy he's become really good and, hopefully lead England to glory and scoring in finals for England. But you can understand how there's been a bit of transfer unrest, considering they've spent so much money as well. They spent a lot of money on Kusanov. He sort of disappeared for a little bit, didn't he? And he's sort of been in and out. Nunez are now playing him at fullback. I mean, Trafford's, I guess he's even first choice goalkeeper. He could definitely be second choice at under £30 million, excuse me, with the budget of Man City. But I totally I get why City fans are going, what? And this is, of course, I should have said early doors in the video. It's coming from Fabrizio Romano. He's saying, this is, they're in negotiations. They're happy to let him go if it's for over 40 million. Why, bro? Why at this time of the window when you'd need to replace him? Because he did play a lot for Guardiola. Guardiola was really trying to get him as one of his first choice, I say wide forwards, kind of wide inside forwards. He didn't really score any goals in the Prem, but he looks like a technically gifted player that could do what Guardiola wants. Why, what's the day today? What day is it? It's Monday. So the Premier League starts on Friday. So 4 days away, the Premier League starts. Are you starting to consider getting into negotiations to selling one of your important players to a rival in Tottenham? And these are the players again, it didn't happen maybe because of the Rodri injury, but Nico Gonzalez, the amount of City fans that were gassed that they signed him, they were like, oh, finally, a really high profile Rodri rotational option, that's good. And then immediately in the headlines, he could be for sale just months later. They're just thinking what? And then seeing this again, I'd be quite disillusioned as well. Savinho to Tottenham. I follow a few Man City. I've got a burner account on X. I used to have an account for me as a content creator. I don't back when it was Twitter a few years ago. I don't like it. I don't think it's the greatest. I mean, it's a useful tool, but I think it has the capacity to bring out the worst in people as well. So I thought, right, I'll just make a little burner. I'll follow journalists and I'll follow fan accounts to gauge the mood to follow football as a content creator, but it won't be me. It will be a no followers. I'm lurking in the darkness. And I follow a few Man City fans on X, and I was looking at the response, and it's not great, man. The YouTuber sometimes goes on the overlap, Steven, he's got a channel called Esteemed Company. I quite like him as a content creator generally. I mean, not all like all content creators, I disagree and agree with some stuff. He's obviously, like we all are, he's got the sort of tinted lenses to one's own club. He obviously had to go through it a lot when being grilled about the charges and all this kind of stuff. So it's, couldn't have been the easiest time being a City content creator when you're just constantly getting asked about, having your trophies taken away and cheating and all that kind of stuff. And, I'm a Chelsea fan, so we've been asked all kinds of, over the years, had all the sort of negative press. But I was looking at what he said, and he was saying it's the straw that broke the camel's back on his X profile. So for a lot of Man City fans, they're like, what are we doing here? Very, very interesting, actually. And it kind of personifies this sort of erratic behaviour from the City as a whole. Personifies, it's not a downfall, but the fact how they've peaked. They could still be excellent, right, Man City? They could still win the league. I keep saying this. They could still win the league, but I don't think they're ever going to be treble-winning Centurions. I just don't think that will be achieved under Pep again. I think that's done. It's an amazing achievement. Whatever happens in the courts will happen, and then obviously that could change the context of everything. But in the meantime, in an isolated sporting achievement, incredible. I don't think they'll reach the same again. They might... what did Liverpool win the league with, mid-80s last season? And they were 10 points clear. I mean, but that's not a high points total in the modern era. Last time my mob won it, Chelsea was in the 90s, City, Liverpool before in the 90s. City constantly winning it. I think City could do get to Liverpool's points total last season, and if that's a title-winning season, then they'll win the Prem and it'll be a great achievement. But I think they're superstar, top levels done now. That doesn't mean they should necessarily Pep. He could still be the best man for the job. I was listening to a athletic podcast a couple of days ago when I was washing my car, catching some rays, and they were talking about the finances of Man United. And one of the Man United insiders was adamant. He was like, yeah, Amorim was the target to succeed Pep Guardiola at Man City. I'm not saying Amorim's a bad coach. We don't know what's going on. He's gone into an absolute circus at United, so it's hard to judge. But it's not necessarily cut and dry that the next guy that comes in is going to be better this Guardiola, you know. But also there's the argument that he should have just gone anyway. Like, he should have won the last title, you know, known all this stuff's coming. And he talks about how Man City stressed him out so much and there's years coming off his life. You've done so well, man. You should have just like won that last title before last season. Mike dropped and said thank you 4 in a row or whatever it was that he won. Incredible. And just been like, right, see you later, boys. You'll be all right. And they probably still would have finished top 5 like they did anyway. So, because you needed top 5 for Champions League with a new guy, purely because they would have had De Bruyne and KDB still, and KDB and De Bruyne, Haaland and all them, man. But anyway, to bring it on home, I kind of get like, there's that kind of, and this is outside looking in, this is just my perception, what could be perceived as the unknown. And maybe that's an underlying conditioning from the charges. There's just always this little percolating what's going to happen, you know. But maybe with Pep being past his best, maybe with this transfer stuff, you don't know, obviously the sporting director's gone now and all this kind of stuff. Maybe there's just this, I don't know where we are or how good we're going to be, you know. And maybe this is just sort of personifies that, the transfers, the indecision. And look, yeah, this is what happens. There's cycles, right, in football clubs. For example, I'm grateful as a Chelsea fan to be enjoying a sort of bit of a renaissance right now. You know, top 4 Conference League, about par, but you still win it. You still want to win it. And the Club World Cup, which is, you know, a trophy that Man City would have very much liked to win. Chelsea won it, and we've got, you know, the youngest squad in the Premier League, so you think the only way is up. And then, like I said, you know, these Man City fans, they want 30-year-old Jack Grealish, Gundogan, and maybe Bernardo Silva to have succession plans, these older players, you know, and maybe they don't see where stuff's going. But I'll put it out to you guys. What do you think? What do you think of where Man City are? What's going on with their transfer plans? I mean, where's Oscar Bob? Has he come back from injury yet? Like, you know, James McAtee, there was talks, I don't know if I assume he hasn't left, but I heard stuff about him wanting a move. Maybe these young Man City talents are seeing Cole Palmer and they're going, I'll have a bit of that, you know. And even Delap, who of course left Man City's academy, and others, there's loads of Man City, I mean, half of them are effing Chelsea. What do you think? Comment down below. Playing going past. Thank you for joining me. Let me know what you think of the content. If you like this conversational style format out of the office, I quite like it. Yeah, man, leave me your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe, and if you subscribe, hit the bell to be notified when I upload. Peace.